still don't accept Raila is dead. I believe he has ascended. The full impact of that ascendancy is going to be felt very soon. Because what he was holding, the role he was playing in holding this society together, was enormous. Enormous, almost to be taken for granted. You could assume that that is designed to be that way. No, he was playing a role. So, if for 30 years our political conversations have been informed by Raila, either for or against, everybody will plan around Raila.
Yes.
You plan for him or against him.
Hey there, and welcome to Fanya Mambo Africa here at the Alpha House. It's a dark day for Kenya. It's been a dark day for the last 24 hours, now heading to 48 hours. And this is because Kenya lost one of its most loved soldiers and a statesman and a towering figure on the political space who loved democracy, free speech, and so many other things. And so with me today, I have Willis Otieno, someone who was close to Baba, worked with him, and loved him, I'm sure.
Yes, thank you very much, Sarah, and to the Odinga family, the ODM fraternity, the people of Kenya, the people of Africa. I share my condolences for the ascension to the next realm of Raila Odinga Baba. Baba was a phenomenal figure, what you call the true stella that appears in any generation. And not all generations have the kind of a figure like Baba. We were lucky as a people to live through the times of Baba. This happens once in a lifetime. It's a once in a lifetime and doesn't happen to all generations. Somebody who you can say inspires a generation and becomes the focal point of transformation without even holding a political office, just being Baba.
When you see the reactions, because today at JKI, the body was supposed to land, be welcomed by the president, the family, the former president, but they were not even able to do that because the crowds overpowered and security was breached, and now things just changed. When you see such happenings, what does this say of Baba?
It tells you Baba and the people were inseparable. And there's nobody in Kenya or nobody alive who has ever been taught or trained on how to mourn Baba. At the point when now it is Baba that is being mourned, being celebrated in death, you cannot say that there's any formula. You cannot even plan for it. At that point, it's the spirit, it's the Jews.
It's the spirit alive.
It's the spirit that takes over. And actually empathize with what is people are going through. Because nobody can even tell you that you stand. Or this is a red line, don't cross it, that we need to do this in an orderly manner. Baba's state funeral is not a state funeral that is chaperoned in the realm of what the state is used to. The state in Kenya has never had an occasion to organize a funeral, a state funeral, for a person in the stature of Raila Odinga. So there's no reference point. You don't have previous protocols to rely on.
So
because if you try to apply the protocols
for
of
the
former presidents,
yes,
it doesn't apply to Baba.
Why?
Because Baba is Baba. I mean, by the time he ascends to be called Baba and to exercise total influence in our lives for the last 30 years, there's no president in Kenya who has had that kind of a privilege. If you look at Jomo Kenyatta, served for 15 years in a defined office. Then you have Moi, served for 24 years in a defined office. Then you have Mwai Kibaki, served in a defined office for 10 years. Uhuru Kenyatta served, still there. William Ruto is serving. But theirs are defined offices. So they can exert control based on their defined offices. But here you have a private citizen who is
even
shaping.
Private.
No, he's a private citizen in the sense that he's not holding any public office. But he exercises control and influences everything that happens, even your government when you sit in cabinet. Part of what you must always refer to is what will Baba say or how will Baba react. So he had transcended, in my view, to beyond the institutional structure of a state. He had almost ascended to that higher echelon of what now we call supremacy, was supremo. And the only people I can compare him with that come to my mind is someone like Mao Zedong and Mandela. Because these are people who were not defined or didn't get their identity out of the offices that they were holding or that they aspired to hold. No. That is what Baba was to Kenyans. He had ascended the presidency. If you ask me, I actually say that if Baba ever became president, that was going to stifle what Baba was. Because if you were to become a president, you will be limited to the strictures of that office. But Baba just being Baba, even when the state now is organizing to receive him, the state is unable to.
They are very confused.
They can't. There's nothing they can do about it. And there's nobody that I can tell you today in Kenya that can talk to that crowd, mammoth, and control them or even order them on what to do. The only person who could talk to them and try to bring some sense in their heads is the same Baba that they're celebrating, the same Baba they're receiving. So what we are going to witness for the next maybe remaining 48 hours is more of the same. Nobody has been trained, nobody has ever been prepared on how to deal with a situation where Baba is lying in state. And nobody has the protocols. And nobody is going to implement any protocols.
So it's just let the people celebrate.
It is the people. Remember, Baba was the people's president.
Yeah.
Sown in the middle of town, 3 kilometers to State House. And nothing happened to him.
But when you see what the crowds, because generally speaking now, sometimes I look at it, I'm like, it looks like a dream. When I saw the casket being removed from the plane, and it's a cargo plane, that's very unusual. And then suddenly there were bodabodas right next to where the plane is parked. Like security for the whole airport was breached. They've even given a notice that they had to close for 2 hours. When you see such things and you're speaking of how Baba lived beyond himself, what does that say of the man?
Because it tells you it's the ownership. It's the ownership of the man and the role that he played. People saw hope in Raila Odinga. He was their defender. He spoke for the weak. He was the voice, the social consciousness of the nation. So when he's not there, I believe those people are not even in control of themselves. Probably today is the first time that a boda ndani ya JKA.
It's highly suspect, yes.
Yeah, probably the first time.
Yeah.
And it could only take Baba to achieve that. Because if you look at the security protocols at the airport, they are meant for a state. They are meant in an organized society that is predictable. Baba's beyond the state. So when you see those breaches simply tells you that those protocols, when they were designed, they were never designed with Baba in mind.
So they should have consulted.
And nobody could even consult, so to speak. Because you will draw from precedents how are airports secured? How do you conduct state receptions? So they have all of that. And we have bureaucrats who've done that all their lives. But now you have a situation where a private citizen who is being received, and you have your protocols which you've developed and fashioned around the highest office you can think of a president. This private citizen, his reception cannot conform to those protocols. So it tells you he had transcended. He had transcended beyond what we know.
How would you say Baba was able to transcend to that level? Because he genuinely had people who loved him for just being Baba and for what he stood for.
Because it's actually that, the last part, what he stood for. Look at Raila Odinga. This is someone who, at the outset of his political journey, he says, we are going to remove this government through unconstitutional means. Why? Moi has passed into law, amended Section 2A of the Constitution, brought Section 2A of the Constitution to bring in that there's no multi-party democracy, that there's only a one-party state. And they say, we'll remove him. So when Baba was doing that, he was not doing it for himself. Because it is the people's voice to choose their leaders that was being stifled. So he puts himself out, says, we have to remove this. This tyranny cannot continue. And the man spends 9 years in detention. 9 years in detention. Not for a personal gain, but for the people's gain. What he's agitating for is an open democratic society that benefits the people, not him. And if you ask yourself, taking into account, for example, today's circumstances, what was the easy way out for Baba? You could have simply said, Moi, let's talk. Let Kenyans continue suffering. We can continue the single party state. Accommodate me in your closed state. You'll have done it. But he chose not to. That was the easy way out. So unselflessly championing the cause of democracy. And I believe Baba actually realized this goal when the 2010 Constitution was enacted and adopted by the people of Kenya, because that Constitution solidified our political gains in a document that the people of Kenya, in a referendum, gave unto themselves.
So I just want to maybe get your view on this. When he was fighting for multi-party, that's between around 1989 to 91, 92, thereabouts.
Yes.
What was the driving force? Like, where had he picked this from?
I believe part of what may have influenced Baba's political and social consciousness was the period when he matured as a young man, because he spent some time in East Germany, and he saw what autocracy could do. That was the time of the Cold War, and Germany was divided into two. He was exposed at an early age to what we call political developments and the common good. So he must have been a very conscious political student, and a deep desire for social justice must have, at that point, been instilled in him. But then also go back to his father, Jaramogi. He grew up in a political family. He witnessed probably some of the injustices meted out on his father, and that time of the inceptive, formative stages of the Kenyan state. So those must have pricked his consciousness. So probably that's the point when he dedicated his life to fight for the common good. And I always say that I believe Baba was what you'll call the godfather of our political liberation, the second liberation. There were others who played a role, worked with him. I believe even Jaramogi played a role, Kenneth Matiba, Charles Rubia, Paul Muite, James Orengo. But the one voice that you can say has been resilient and has stood the test of time and been relevant to this point and still at it will be Raila Odinga. And that is what, in a way, sets him apart from the other stellar members of that class, because he is ever present, ever fresh, ever green. I want to tell you something. When the Gen Z went out for the revolution last year, there's only one politician they addressed, and it was only Baba.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, why did these young people say that they only recognize one politician? They recognize Raila Odinga. They said, Baba, leave this one for us now. We are going to finish what you started. There were more than 1,000 politicians in the country, even a sitting president, a former president. The young people didn't address any of those. They only sent their message to Baba. And I do believe that part of what made that Gen Z revolution to be possible are the events of 30th of January, 2018.
That's when the swearing in was done.
When Baba, in full glare of the public, in broad daylight, courageously drove into Uhuru Park, lifted a Bible, and saw himself as the people's president, presided over by Miguna. Because what was that swearing in? That was the ultimate act of defiance to the state that had, in a way, subjugated the will of the people. It was an opportunity to give back the people their voice, that we'll do it not in private, not in isolation, but we'll do it publicly at a respected public square and boldly, barely 3 kilometers from State House.
Do you think at that point he was afraid that maybe the state would have killed him?
I can tell you, I can give you insider information.
Because you were part of the team by that time, yes.
I was Raila Odinga's campaign manager. I was 33 years old that time. A young age to be given privileged access to such occurrences. And initially, we had planned to do a private ceremony because there was a fear that the state will block Uhuru Park. So it was planned that we go to Uhuru, to his residence. We pre-recorded swearing in, that if the state were to block Uhuru Park, then we will release that ceremony and announce to Kenyans that the oath has been taken, the people's president is in office. And I can tell you, even some of the principals could not even appear for the private ceremony. We waited for more than 4 hours for them to appear. They didn't. You know, sometimes when it is not on you to make the bold step, you can pontificate, you can theorize on what it is. But, you know, even as me, my duty was to write the oath.
Oh, you're the one who wrote that
I wrote the oath. 54 words. I wrote it. Writing the oath is easy. But now to boldly stand up and say, I'm doing it, it takes a different level of courage and conviction. So his principles didn't appear. The private oathing ceremony later, we had to postpone that first one. We did the second one. Then on the day, 30th of January, he is at a private location and mammoths are gathering at Uhuru Park. So come at the hour when he has to leave where he was. And he's with his bodyguard, Morris, his daughter, Winnie, and my party leader, Jimmy Wanjigi. They are the only ones in that room. Then Orengo joined them at some point. They're the only ones in that room. Now, Baba asked them, let's eat. This may be the last supper. So they have lunch. And now they walk. There was a private hotel somewhere in Westlands. Walk to the cars, and they're driving to Uhuru Park. You know, at that point, he's the only person going to take the oath.
Yeah.
And his core principles are not there. So maybe I should say this also. That's the day before, the weekend before. He had gone to Homa Bay for a function because what we had done as NASA was we wanted to, in terms of just whipping people to show support, solidarity. So there were meetings that were being held, people's conventions across the country. I remember the last one was in Homa Bay. And when Baba spoke in Homa Bay, and he spoke in Luo, and he said, in not so many words, that if Raila Odinga must die for the rains to come, I am ready to die. My people, let me be the one to die for you to see the promised land, for you to live in the promised land. Let me be the one to die. That story is drawn from a Luo Daj of a young girl who was being sacrificed, offered to be sacrificed for the rains to come. So Raila said, if it is left for me to be the one to die, to free the people of Kenya, for our electoral voices to be respected, it is a death that I'm willing to receive. So you can imagine, that was a very painful, very emotional rendition of that song. He sang it when he was making that presentation in Homa Bay. So now, on the 30th, that moment has come, when he must now walk in. Those of us who wrote the oath, see, we've already handed it over to Miguna. So I've passed over responsibility.
Your work is done.
My work is done. And Miguna also only holds the oath up to a particular point. Him will just stand, and Raila will take the oath. It's now him. And he's the one who will take responsibility if there are to be any repercussions. The man rose to the occasion. He took that oath, read the entire 54 words oath. No other speech was made at Uhuru Park. And he boldly came down from the dais, went into Jimmy's car, and he stayed in Jimmy's house for some time. Until the point came when now he was supposed to go to State House. You are now the president. You can't be staying at Muthaiga 44.
Yeah.
And he said yes. Now let's get ready to go to State House, to take the people's house. State House is the people's house. Long story short, of course, you can imagine the immense pressure that he was going through. And even prior to the taking of that oath, I can tell you many people across the globe, presidents, former presidents, were calling him, telling him, don't do it, don't. Raila, don't do it, you'll spoil your legacy. You cannot take an oath of office. Magufuli was his very close friend.
Yeah.
I happened to be in the room once when Magufuli called. And they spoke for almost 1 hour, just trying to tell him, don't do it. So you can imagine, in the eyes of all that pressure from his close friends who are holding high offices, I think even Obama called him once. Well, twice actually.
During that season?
Yes.
What did Obama tell him?
I was not in the room. I didn't hear about it because he walked out when the phone call came. But phone calls were being made from all over. So you can imagine the immense pressure he was under at that time.
And still decided to go ahead
And
with
yet
his words.
also, that is on one end. On the other end, you have a population, the people,
that you have convinced.
that are also telling you, you must take the oath. If you recall, the initial oath was supposed to be taken in December 2017. And it was postponed because Kalonzo was out of the country. He was attending to his ailing wife.
Yeah.
Yes. And the backlash that came from the people, why did not take that oath? From that day, anywhere Raila will appear, people will be giving him the Bible.
To swear him anywhere.
Before he speaks, he will be given the Bible. Take the oath. So you have, on one end, public pressure, your people, the ones you represent, demanding of you to take an oath. On the other end, you have the state putting pressure for it not to happen. You have your friends, your associates, political associates. Some of them are former presidents or serving presidents, calling you, telling you don't do it. So you must draw a middle ground. And let's not forget, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya at the time gave a public statement that if that oath is to be taken, the person responsible will be guilty of the offense of treason, which offense its punishment is death by hanging until you die. So the chief government legal advisor has spoken and has told you the consequences. He was able to take the oath. Courage beyond means.
Baba was a man of his words.
And I can tell you, Gen Z may not know it, but even the Gen Z revolution, you'll find it draws its inspiration from that act of open defiance.
From that open defiance, how do you think that made Kenyans? Because now, every day, as we speak, people always quote, the power belongs to the people. That's a quote of the Constitution that everyone now says sovereign power. How do you think Baba was able to transition that from just being on paper to people understanding the power?
Because by coming out at that time and boldly speaking and taking that oath, it was an open defiance in the middle of the city and showing people that power resides in you. That, in a way, I do believe, planted a seed of defiance in everybody. That's why I say that even the Gen Z revolution, you may not know it, but its foundation was on that 30th of January. Because who are these Gen Zs that time? They were in their early teens. That's the time when now they're becoming a bit aware and conscious. They are witnessing an act of open defiance to a state that has rigged elections done in the city. So even them, they feel that, no, we can always challenge authority. Power is with us. Power is with the people. And nobody could advertise power being in the people better than Raila Odinga could. And he did it. He did it not just by speaking, like I am. He did it by when the opportunity arose, he offered himself and used himself as the example to send the message home. So when our young people come out to demonstrate, challenge authority and to confront it like they've done, they're drawing the inspiration from that act. They should not just assume that it happened without a foundation.
Yeah.
There was a foundation that was laid somewhere. And that laying of the foundation starts with the fight for multi-party democracy, democratization, a new constitution 2010, which I believe was the solidification of Raila's struggle, bringing it in a constitution. And that marked the culmination of our political fights. And the era of political liberation, in my view, that era started in 1992. It ended with the enactment of the Constitution in 2010. And that era, as a generation, ends in 2022. So the Kenyan people are now transcending to what the young people are now showing us. It's now a new fight for a new cause. And that new cause is the cause of economic liberation. We've secured our political rights. That is why we can speak our minds, we can challenge authority, can form political parties, engage in political activities. Our civic rights are guaranteed.
As you say that it ended in 2022, yet in 2024 we are fighting for the same thing. 2025, somehow we went back to the streets to fight for the same thing. So this is something that Baba started, and we give it his flowers for that. But he has died well. Still, it's not 100%. Like these some pockets of suppression still that happen. Do you think that is something that's a fight that Kenyans will keep alive, because he fought so hard to have that, as you say? I mean, the Constitution is one of his most remarkable achievements.
I will say that you need to understand, the Kenyan people are not fighting for the right to speak or for the right to belong to. They're not fighting for that.
So
they own that right.
These people who are sending tweets and being abducted.
Why are they being abducted? They are fighting for economic liberation. Okay? It is only a response that people are trying to stifle your voices. But it is, the Kenyan people have taken it for granted. They've owned their political rights. Those rights exist. And we live them, we own them. What they are fighting is economic emancipation. Look at it this way. Before 24th June 2024, there was no abduction taking place here. There was no extrajudicial killings of demonstrators. We are not seeing men in balaclavas and Subarus all over. Those came after something happened. That something was the Reject Finance Bill. So it was a fight for economic emancipation. People using the tools that Baba had given them, the Constitution, the expanded democratic space, to fight for economic liberation. So the fight is not that the state had been, on a normal day, abducting people, disappearing people. No. People picked up arms to fight for their economic liberation. Okay. The state is the one that has gone back now to try to stifle that fight. What I believe the Kenyan people are concerned about today, it is more about money in their pockets. And they don't take it lightly if you try to stifle on their political rights.
Yeah.
So when the state is responding by trying to clamp down on political rights. But those are rights which they've already owned. We have them.
The Constitution.
The Constitution we have, it gives it to us. We own those rights. There's nothing they can do about that.
Okay.
That is why you see there's demand for more accountability. They're more decent. People are speaking. Okay. And they'll tell you our rights are secured.
All right.
Before, there was detention without trial. Do you know what that meant?
Yes.
That someone could pick you and keep you in communicado for even 1 year. No one knows where you are.
How do you think?
No going to court.
How do you think that detention without trial for Raila changed him as a person?
I mean, in the few times that he ever talked, I mean, in my presence, about his experience, it's a solitary process to be detained without trial. And the uncertainty that comes with it. Because you don't know when you'll ever be released. You know, if you're on a term imprisonment, you can at least count days and say, I'm serving 3 years.
Yeah.
So I know I'll be out. I've done 1 year. I have 2 more years. I've done 2 years, 1 more year. I've done 1 year. I'm coming out next month. Detention without trial, you don't know. It's at the pleasure of the president. He can even forget about you. Don't think that he wakes up in the morning thinking that I've detained Willis. So it brings gross uncertainty. So you must adopt from what he said. You have to find ways of coping. And you're spending all the time, most of the times on your own. So a lot of self-introspection. A lot of reading if you get materials. So you spend a lot of time with yourself. Many people don't have meetings with themselves. The me times that we talk about, even if we do it, find someone only's me time is only 2 hours. Raila's me time was maybe 9 years. Yeah. So you can imagine the kind of meetings he had with himself, the introspection, just developing the thought processes of it all. And in a way, it also influenced him. You know, if you knew Raila, I'll tell you, he's one person who didn't like being confined once he left detention.
That's why he was always with...
To stay in the house for a whole day, for him, even a whole week, no, that was impossible. Remember there's a time in 2017 when he had a scare in Mombasa, somewhere in Malindi. So we had decided to suspend the campaign to give him time to recuperate. So the next day we were at his place. He was okay now. And at around 4, 5, he's just getting restless. He can't believe that for 2 days I've been confined in the house. So he says, no, let's even go and watch football then. Outside, not in the house, because there's TV in the house. No, let's go and watch football. So I believe that was part of his experience in detention. Having been confined for that long, he appreciated freedom. And he said it. You get to appreciate freedom more once you've been detained. And even this very concept of free space, being able to just walk, assert yourself. So that may have also contributed to him always loving being around the people. I think Raila's easy Sunday afternoon used to be in Kibra, Kamukunji.
Talking to the people.
With 10,000 people. That was his easy Sunday afternoon. To him, that is that's a relaxed Sunday afternoon. Or going to watch football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. When you look at it, he's I think it's 2017 when the journey to Canaan was very loud. Do you think he has lived to experience the Canaan he wanted for Kenya to be, or is he like the Moses of the Bible who God told, you will see, but you will never get there?
In 2017, we used to call Raila Joshua.
Yes.
And Joshua was leading us into Canaan. But in retrospect, I do believe that Raila Odinga was Moses. Because people talk more of Moses than Joshua, even in the Bible. Even though it's Joshua who entered the promised land.
Yeah.
Moses only saw it. But Moses was the visionary who conceptualized, who conversed with God about the promised land. He's the one who sold that to the Israelites. And he got to see it. So Raila, being Moses, having conceptualized a free Kenya, fought for it to release it from political oppression. Just the same way Moses fought to release the Israelites from the political oppression by Pharaoh. Raila did the same here. Once they were free politically, they went into the wilderness. So Raila also, once we were freed with our political rights, we went out. He has left at the point when the young people have owned it, that this freedom does not end on the political front. It's now also about individual freedom in terms of economic freedom that guarantees you human dignity. The young people took up that mantle last year, and I do believe Raila stood at the top of the mountain, Mount Sinai, seeing the promised land and believing that those who he had nurtured will deliver on the promise of a new Kenya. He now becomes Father Abraham and many sons and daughters. From amongst his sons and daughters, who are many, they are actually a galaxy in the political scene, some in active politics, some still in private spheres. One of them who believes in that ideology, who shares in the vision that Raila had, will deliver the people into that promised land. But it will take a lot. Because the first thing that Raila never did was he didn't choose the easy way out in 1982.
Yeah.
The easy way out was to join Moi and sacrifice the people's cause. He actually cemented a cause, a belief, a vision. He fought for it, paid for it, offered himself as a sacrifice in fighting for the people, not for himself. So also, that person who will lead the Kenyan people into that promised land, he must share in that same vision, that same conviction and commitment. But if you are in it for your personal gain, then you can compromise as soon as now.
I am very
the
worried.
oppressor today is William Ruto.
When I look at the people that he took through, it's a bit scary because as of now, I can't pinpoint someone who can carry that vision as yet.
You know, one thing that I want to encourage you, just like when Samuel went into the house of Jesse, and he told Jesse, one of your sons has been anointed to become king. Jesse went and looked to the traditional, the warriors, the older boys. He called all of them and they were rejected. So also for Raila's vision bearer, the vision carrier of Raila Odinga, don't look into the traditional. Don't look into the traditional. Those may be the warriors out in battle. But you'll find someone who's just a shepherd, a David, who nobody even sees as a potential. That person will actualize the vision by landing the people of Kenya in Canaan. I do believe it will not come from the known.
Okay.
It will come from the unknown.
Wow. As someone who worked as the campaign manager, what would you say are the key lessons or conversations that you had with Raila that changed your life?
One thing that I must appreciate in my life, because I believe I am today what I am, because of that interaction. One thing that Raila stewed that you felt immediately around him, because before you meet him, he's this big giant that even when you want to go and meet with him, you must think through the words, what you are going to say, your posture, what you are going to say, what you'll do, how you even sit. But you get to meet the man, and there's something about him that he inspires, he gives you confidence, the aura of confidence. That you think you're just talking to your boy. Yeah, this is my guy. Okay. He makes you feel comfortable. He will come to your level. It's like for me, he used to call me Nera.
Which means?
Nera means uncle. Because his mother comes from my village. So by Luo tradition, I qualify as his uncle. So in fact, if Raila ever came to Alego, we always make sure we give him a chicken and eggs. That is what traditionally is given to a nephew. So, once he's called you now, you're my uncle.
Yeah.
You see, he disarms you. And then in terms of the conversation, he talks to you at your level, that you actually feel the confidence to contribute. Because he wants to hear. I also learned that with some of these positions, you listen more than talk. Listen, don't talk. Don't be quick to speak. It's about absorption. Understand different perspectives. And as a leader, there are so many people coming to you with different perspectives. It can't be you are the only one who talks all the time. Listen. You don't know what the person who came to see you had in mind before they came.
Yeah.
He taught me that art of listening. Listen. But more importantly, what I learned was conviction and courage. You must believe in something.
Yes.
You must believe in. You can't just live your life that you believe in yourself only. No. There must be something, a greater goal beyond you as a person that you aspire to. What is that one thing that you're ready to die for? And death can be a welcome relief if it is meant to actualize that which you believe in. So that I learned deeply. And more so in the tumultuous period that we were in. You know, it was not easy.
Right.
When we talk about nowadays, I can talk about and laugh. But in the middle of all that, my family was equally scared for me. Because they could all see the danger we're exposing ourselves to. But I didn't feel any danger. I didn't feel any fear. Because he didn't emit any fear energy. The leader himself was feeding us with courage. His aura was that one of courage.
We can do
so
this.
It was feeding into us. So even me, in my little corner, I was like, we have to do it. We can do it. We are ready to die. We'll be suicide bombers if they come to arrest Raila on that day.
You were ready to die for the
A
cause.
cause. It was a cause. Do you know, actually, we believed in this thing. I tell you that if Raila decided on that day, on 30th January, from Uhuru Park, we're walking to State House, there's nothing the state could have done. That one I assure you. In that crowd, that mammoth crowd, there are enough people who are ready to pay the ultimate price if that was going to liberate the people of Kenya. So that I admired.
That is, for sure, his conviction is admirable. That's no doubt. When you're working on the election cases, like when you sat down behind the scenes, would he come and what would he maybe tell the team?
In fact, the 2022 case, the one that people know me for, where Piki Ponki comes in, I was not acting for Raila Odinga. I was acting for the civil society groups, LF Alifa. So that one I didn't work closely with him when they considered that case. But in 2017, we worked very closely with him. And there's a group of young people. I don't know where some of them are today. They're almost 100 plus. In Raila's house in Karen, there's a gazebo. They've turned it, they call it, I think now, the cockpit. That gazebo, those young people were sitting there with the laptops and all those forms, 40,000 election forms, scrutinizing, feeding. They were sleeping on they're sleeping in turns. Some sleep on the floor, as others are working. And Raila sometimes will come and sit with that group to tell them stories, to encourage them. He will light a fire outside, stay up to even 3 a.m. with this group of young people. I hope one of them will one day come out. I lost contact with most of them. Whenever it came to these cases, he was very involved. We had our center at Cold Springs Hotel, our legal center. He was always there, trying to understand and to share his perspectives on what needs to go into the briefs. He understood that case. He knew the case. And in court, I was his contact person. Orengo was the spokesperson, his voice. I was his contact person if he wants to pass a message to Orengo. And he was with Jimmy outside, making sure that we are able to capture that which the people want to hear. So if a message needs to be relayed, it will be sent to me. So I tell Orengo, need to go this. This is on the forms. We had agreed, capture it this way, bring this out. So he was very involved in his cases. And he will always say sometimes, even if people will discourage him not to file a petition, he'll say, we do it for prosperity. It's about posterity. It's about building jurisprudence. Let's test
The systems.
Let it go on record that this was challenged. And what did the courts say? Because that will be another point, pressure point for reform. Are the courts conforming to what the people's desires are? Or are the courts still repressive? Then it becomes a pressure point for reform. Raila was about reform.
And he fought for reforms, especially for IEBC, for judiciary, for parliament. Now that he's out and looking at the people we have, do you think these institutions will stand the test of time? Or do we have someone else who's ready?
We used to have one giant called Raila Odinga. Now we have so many little Railas. So many, immeasurable in number. So if the systems thought that they're only dealing with Raila Odinga, ole wow. Ole wow.
Wow.
Because the inspiration he has sent to these millions of our young people, now they have to talk to all these millions if they cannot conform to a free society. Look at the Gen Z. It only had to take Raila Odinga, for example, to stabilize William Ruto to an extent. If you were not there, who would have attempted? That's what I'm telling you. Whereas before,
there was one.
Now, there are millions of Raila Odingas. Each convicted, each fighting for a cause, and that cause is a better Kenya. To economically make sense to them. I feel sorry for anybody who wants to stand in the way
of these millions.
I feel sorry for him.
Do you
conform or perish?
From the conversations you had with Raila Odinga, do you think he really wanted to be a president of Kenya?
He wanted. I believe he wanted. Before Raila Odinga ran in 2017, that was something that he was very convicted about. But to also say that Raila did not believe that he must be president or nothing, like it was a do or die for him. Okay? If it's like when the killings were taking place in 2017, it got to him, especially the night of elections, when the state went flat out, the times when Baby Pendo and others were killed. In certain informal settlements, just shooting indiscriminately.
Yeah.
That thing got to him. In fact, that was the one few occasion that I saw him actually almost tearing because of what was happening. He was asking, what have those people in the poor informal settlements got to do with my stolen victory? That he has to send, the state has to deploy heavy police to kill them. And we were in Karen, and you could hear gunshots, probably in Kibra. Occasionally you hear somebody wailing. So it got to him. It's something that I believe may have, in a way, made him in some instances to compromise. When there was this, what will appear as spiraling violence against the people, that in a way played a big role in making him to compromise in certain cases.
The handshakes, you mean?
So I believe like those handshakes, the state may have used the killings to soften his heart because they knew that probably that was his only soft spot. And more so when it is vulnerable, poor people. And more so, let me also say this, more so women and children. I always said in the campaign, never go to have a dispute with a woman, a girl that goes before Raila to be the adjudicator. He had a soft spot. Because to him, he believed those are the weaker group that needs, they've suffered more in terms of marginalization. The social structures are run against them. So you as a man, you may be taking advantage of social structures to undermine a woman. So you listen more to the voice of the lady, even if she's on the wrong. And he finds she's on the wrong, but she will have spoken more than you.
Wow. But also, I mean, he's among the people who fought for women generally across, even in terms of getting the constitution to 2/3 gender equality rights and all that. So that's something he stands out for. He celebrated women. I remember even the stories of Phoebe Asio, he kept quoting them. He kept quoting, he even went for Martha as a running mate. So that stands out for me also. So when you look at his story and how this is going to change the Kenya's political space, because it has changed, not that it will change. The moment they announced that Raila is gone, we have seen. We can read.
Raila was a giant. And as I said earlier, not every generation gets to see a giant.
Yeah.
We got to see one, to live with one, to interact with one. The full impact of the ascendancy, I still don't accept Raila is dead. I believe he has ascended. The full impact of that ascendancy is going to be felt very soon. Because what he was holding, the role he was playing in holding this society together was enormous.
Yeah.
Enormous, almost to be taken for granted. You could assume that that is designed to be that way. No, he was playing a role. So, if for 30 years our political conversations have been informed by Raila, either for or against, everybody will plan around Raila.
Yes.
You plan for him or against him. If you are in his camp, you plan for him. If you don't want his camp, you plan against him. But he's the center of attention. I don't know what plans they're going to come up with now, going forward. That is going to be the major challenge. And it affects right from William Ruto. As I've told you, the stabilizer of his administration was Raila. He has no stabilizer.
Politically, how do you think the president is taking this?
It was what you call a fatal body blow to him. With the ascendancy of Raila, many Kenyan politicians have died many deaths. What you are witnessing are dead men walking. Many of these politicians you are seeing now, who've organized their lives around Raila Odinga, those are the living dead. They are politically all dead. Because now you must find a new rhythm. The one you knew is no more. So who is really able to stabilize her to begin with? The ODM politicians who owed their allegiance to Raila and used Raila's name to ascend. What will they do? So it's going to be a total shake-up. Total shake-up in a way that no one has ever thought of. You know, when I told you that Raila had transcended beyond the realm of state, when Moi died, Kibaki, even Kenyatta, he didn't shape or shake the political landscape like Raila's ascendancy is going to do. Because his is going to shake it tremendously. That when we have an election, I'm talking of not less than 90%.
In 2 years.
Not less than 90% of these people are going home. It will be a total shift. Because what are they going to tell people? Those who thrived on abusing Raila, who will they abuse? Those who thrived on praising Raila, who will they praise? It cuts both ways. So you must go back to the people with a new agenda.
Do they have time for that?
That's what I'm saying. Most of them are going to lose. Many of them. Some will not even face the electorates. Their mouths are taken. So you're going to see a total new Kenya.
So technically the country is changing. This is another shift, like the way we had multi-party sort of.
This is a tectonic shift. Total shift. And I believe that shift is going to be a shift to actualize the vision. Remember, all these people you're seeing here, all these players, they spent all their time focusing around Raila, not on a vision. Raila had a vision that he was working towards. Moses, walking his people to the promised land, hoping to get there with them. But in between, you have the Pharaohites fighting him. Some one day appear there with Baal, now they want to worship Baal. Some decide we want to go back to Pharaoh. Why are you mistreating us in the wilderness? So also in Kenya, there are so many people who were not invested in the vision that Raila had, but kept dragging him into local issues, in a way delaying the actualization of that vision. Now that he's not there, a Joshua will emerge that is crystal clear on the vision, setting people to go into the promised land. Joshua and Caleb will emerge. And it will be about economic liberation. It's not just about talking about Raila. It will be now about talking about the people. You've used Raila as a bogeyman for far too long. He has now ascended to the afterworld.
It's about time.
It's about time.
How do you think Raila managed to build friendships, not just locally, even on the international space? Because even condolences are coming from world leaders across.
I mean, Look at Raila's history and even the nature of the person. Raila was a very amiable person at a personal level, very amiable. As I told you, makes you feel very comfortable. And he was a people's person. I just told you, keep him in a room. If you want to punish Raila by the way, I used to say, if you wanted to punish him in the campaign, just lock him in a meeting, in a room. Keep him there for a whole day if you wanted to punish him. That is punishment enough. It's always about meeting people. So I believe with that strength, he was able to build a lot of networks. And more so, the conviction, the cause for which he believed. There are many political parties across the globe that are founded on similar ideologies. That is, political parties were founded. And that gave him a lot of inroads into their causes. And having been here for now, you're talking of solidly playing almost 30 years, and you're a people's person, it's inevitable that you'll build the networks. And you're a genuine friend. He always reached out to his friends. Raila can pick a call and call someone who is a watchman somewhere. And they have a very long conversation, even 10 minutes. There was no high or mighty. And not even just a random call. You'll find that in his phone book, that's a very constant conversant that he has with somebody. And you ask yourself, this guy, what he's doing, and Raila, where is the connect? But him, he believes this is just a human being like me. So we have a way of connecting, we have a way of talking. So he knew how to maintain relationships, build and to maintain relationships. At a personal level, forget even about a political level. More so because some of these things are also born out of personal relations. He knew how to do that.
That's really nice.
So that even when you disagreed with someone politically, he will disagree with you politically, but maintain a safe personal relationship on issues that affect you.
It's very interesting to learn about. And also I think it's evident in the handshakes, because these are people he genuinely, he even believed his victory was...
They stole his victory.
Yeah.
Like, I believe they stole his victory. Both of them.
Both of them, you mean?
Uhuru stole the elections of 2017. He stole Raila's victory. I was there. William Ruto also stole his victory in 2022. I was in that courtroom. I saw the evidence. So they stole his victory. But he still had a way of pacifying and bridging their differences.
That's a unique character, to be very honest. What do you think will be his legacy for, I don't even know if it's just Kenya, just his legacy across?
There is none other will ever come like him. The story of Raila Odinga cannot be summarized in a sentence, cannot be summarized in a novel, cannot be summarized in a library. Because there are so many dimensions of it. But one thing that, in my view, for me, stands out, Raila Odinga is profiles of courage and conviction.
Courage and conviction. Wow. That's actually, that would define him as a man. Wow. Okay. Raila was also very jovial. And I think for me, also part of what I enjoyed were his campaign seasons, because he had very interesting, charming ways of singing, dancing, and all that. From the songs he did or that were done for his campaign, which one stood out for you?
For obvious reasons. The one that I enjoyed was the one that was done during my time. NASA. But there was one, maybe you were young, in 2007.
I was young, yes.
You were very young.
Sure, I do.
That song is what catapulted Raila to the national scene after the 2005 referendum. That was Onyi Papa J. Tinga onyalego pieni uchako mipira terupa uchako nia tena anachenga tena anaweka. I don't know if you know that song.
No.
You've never heard of it?
No.
Onyi Papa J.
I know NASA.
That song was electric. That Onyi Papaje of 2007. And it came just after the 2005 referendum. But the highlight was the elections. It was about Raila. And that time, Raila liked using football analogy. All his campaigns, the closure will be goal. So this gentleman did a song around that. And now Raila with the Mpira. That song was electric for 2007.
Wow.
Then the second one is the T-Beam.
Raila, T-Beam.
T-Beam. T-Beam. NASA. That one I enjoyed because I was right in the middle of it. I was in the middle of NASA, and the captain did not disappoint.
That was a very good song, honestly. It was. By the way, when did the name Agwambo come in?
The name Agwambo came about in just before the 2002 elections. Agwambo means mystery, the mysterious one.
Oh.
The mysterious one. I think that was after his cooperation with... so first in 97, he was called Tinga.
Oh, Tinga was 97.
97, because his campaign slogan, his political party, NDP, the symbol was a tractor, which in local colloquium is called Tinga. So they're calling him Tinga. Then after Tinga, he joined Moi. After 97 elections, he joined with Moi. Then when he joined Moi, and he was pulling now, in a way, torpedoing Kanu from inside. That's what it was. This is the mysterious one.
Yeah.
How can this man come from opposing Moi? Now he has joined Moi. People thought he had sold out. Now he's torpedoing Moi. He's the mysterious one.
Oh, that was when now Moi came and declared Uhuru as...
When Moi made Uhuru his candidate. So Agwambo was the mysterious one. Then, which other name did he get? Then Baba. Baba, I had that name for the first time in Kisumu. That was around 2013, after the 2013 elections, around 2014. And we had gone to Kisumu. Then these younglings. That time he used to be known as Agwambo, Tinga, Jacom. No, there was Jacom came also in 2007. 2007 they were calling him Jacom. Then he became prime minister. Then now after 2013 elections, we are in around 2014. It was 2014, 2015. And he was talking to some young people. I mean, he was addressing a crowd. I think there was an issue with some Hindu community. So as he's talking, and they say, yes, Baba. Yes, Baba. Baba, we hear. Baba, we hear. And it was so funny if you look at that original video. That, yes, Baba. Yes, Baba. That time his name was not Baba. But I think from that time, people just loved that. He resonated very well with the name Baba. And he had also moved away from... Raila used to wear this Russian peasant hat.
Yes.
The Kangol. Yeah?
Yeah.
Which is it's a revolutionary's hat.
Oh.
Yeah. That's why when you see that Kangol sign, that one is always for the ideologues, revolutionists. That was Raila's signature hat.
Okay.
But then after he became prime minister and transcended, he started wearing now more of Godfather. Called Fedora.
Yes.
Fedora.
Yes, with the circular.
Yes. So he was more of now a family father figure to these young people. And they started calling him Baba. And Baba seems to have stuck. And
it stuck to the end.
It stuck to the end.
Until 2022.
Until 2022?
Yeah, where we added something at the end. Baba the Fifth. I've never forgotten.
Baba the Fifth.
Yeah, because we used to walk in, if you walk in an office and everyone said, just say Baba the Fifth.
Baba the Fifth.
Yes.
Yes.
It was very interesting.
Yeah. So that is the history and the legacy of the man.
Okay.
His story will forever remain etched.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing. It's been amazing hearing these stories from first-hand experience, of course, because you've been with him all through. But there's just something I would want to... What do you see of ODM, the party?
No, it's unfortunate to discuss ODM at this point.
Let's just touch a bit of it, because it's now the reality.
The reality of it is that the glue that held ODM together is not there. And now they have another onerous task to find a point of convergence. And it will require sacrifice, people to sacrifice their individual ambitions and focus on the foundation, the vision that the founder had, what Raila Odinga had. Raila Odinga was not about the individual, it was about the people. And that is a higher calling to the people in ODM, especially the leadership that remains in ODM. If they can trade true to cause, if they don't, if they start pursuing individual interests, it will be a sad day for them to let the legacy of Raila Odinga to be soiled by their disunity that will lead to the disintegration of that political party. But I do believe within ODM there is enough stellar sons and daughters who can carry forward with the vision. And I hope they seize the moment in a way that honors the legacy of Raila Odinga. If they don't, it will be a sad day.
Okay. Wow. Very nice. I'm sitting down and hearing these stories. The only thing I would have wished, I feel bad that Baba left before I ever sat with him to have a conversation. A very unfortunate man. He was a beautiful storyteller. Enjoyed watching all his interviews. Met him 2-3 times, but really never had a chance to get into a deep conversation. But thank you for sharing. It's amazing for all of us to hear, especially the young people.
I can donate some of the aura that he gave me to you.
Please.
To supplement.
It will be important.
Yeah.
But you know now, you're not the giant.
I'm not. I can never be.
The giant
I can never be. There's only one giant.
Yeah.
I can never be.
All right. Thank you so much, Willis. He's the deputy party leader of Safina Party, talking to us, of course, today as someone who loved and worked with Baba, not in his position as Safina. But it's been amazing and learning these experiences, even as we eulogize the late Raila Amollo Odinga. And we wish the country all the peace and celebrations that we can have, because this is a celebration of a life more than even the morning. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next episode.